Hello, howdy, how's it? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Keisha, and this is another episode of The Heart Behind the Art. In this segment, you get to know the artists a lot better and maybe a little bit about why they are the way they are as human beings. So in this episode, I'm going to be speaking to the fantastic Bryce Butler. He is the current drummer for Shadow of Intent, along with a very long list of other bands. Some of the bands he's been in that you might recognize: Bro Job, Hunt the Dinosaur, Faceless. Hunt the Dinosaur is actually how I found Bryce. When I started listening to them, I was like, damn, this drummer is insane. I started becoming curious about Bryce when he was part of that band, and yeah, we've been speaking for a very long time, and I feel like he's a very close and dear friend. This interview is very close to my heart. Bryce opens up and gives us a lot of insights into why he is the way he is. It was very difficult for me to decide to upload this because I felt like he was very vulnerable in this interview. I hope that you appreciate his vulnerability and willingness to open up. Yeah. It's not easy doing that type of thing, so I really respect him, and this interview means a lot to me because of how open he was. Yeah, so finally, after about a year of holding on to this interview, I feel okay about uploading it. I love Bryce so much, and I really appreciate him giving me the time. I hope that you enjoy this interview.
Hello, can you please introduce yourself and tell me your name and what you do? You're part of so many bands, I think listing them now as part of your introduction would be a bit difficult. So maybe just
Yeah,
an
that'd be
overview.
insane. Okay, cool. My name is Bryce Butler, and I'm a professional drummer.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So, Bryce,
Way easier.
yes, that's perfect. Okay, so how would you say you started out in drumming? Was this from the beginning something that you wanted to do?
Yeah. So I started playing drums when I was like 3 years old. I think, yeah, like 2.5 or three. Um, and it's like my parents discovered it because I was like, I, they put something on TV. I think it was like the Eagles or something. And I went and I was like feeling the beat so much that I went into the kitchen and dragged in like two stools and like some wooden spoons, and I started like keeping beat, and I was like young as shit. So my parents were like, "Oh damn." Well, and they were my parents and my family was all musical as well. So they were like, "Damn, maybe we should, play into this." And so thankfully they bought me like a little drum set like by the time I was 3. So I've pretty much always this is like all I've ever known, or all I've ever wanted to do or really, cared about. So,
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so can you speak a little bit more about how you got to the point you're at now? What steps did you take in terms of learning how to play drums and um, in terms of joining as many bands as you're a part of now?
um, damn, that's crazy. Um, I mean, I'm just like a very obsessive person anyway. I have like a very obsessive personality. So since that's all I knew or cared about, like that's all that I wanted to do or put my time into. And so I was like bullied a lot as a kid, and I never really had like a lot of friends. So I would take out any of that bullshit from school. When I would come home, I would always take it out on my drums. And I was practicing so much, but the cool thing is I didn't even really realize that I was practicing because it was just so much fun, and it was just a way to get out, all that shit. And then next thing I know, I'm like fucking 15 years old, and I haven't played in a band yet, but like I've played drums so much that the next, and I basically just learned songs. Like I never had like a practice routine or anything. My favorite bands, I would just listen to their music over and over, figure out the drums, and then play along to them. And then the next thing you know, you can play a lot more than you thought you could, you know. And then by the time I was like 15, I joined this one local band. It was like my first band, and we didn't do very much. But just playing shows, it like changed my life. Like feeling that, as soon as I played my first show, I was like, okay, like this is what I want to do. Like this, the energy exchange, and just, it's an indescribable feeling. Like I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I wanted to tour, and I mean, I was young. I was only like 16 years old at the time. So, and I lived at home. So I was like, well, shit. In the summer, I went on Craigslist, and my parents were like super Christian growing up. And so to make them happy, I looked up like Christian touring band on on Craigslist, and I found this like Christian band that like did some tours, and I joined and did a couple tours with them when I was like 16. And I didn't, we didn't like make any money, like it was just for experience. And the cool thing was, out of that, everything stemmed from that. So like, I did a couple tours with them. I met somebody on one of those tours that like worked at the drum company of the drum kit that I have, and he got me a discount on my drum kit. So when I was 17, I got the drum kit that I still have now.
Wow.
So, and then when I got that new kit, I was like inspired, because I never had like a new kit like that cool, and it was like my dream kit. So I got inspired, and like that band fell apart. So me and two other members from that band split off and started another band, and then that band started to fall apart. You know what I mean? And then you just, every time you play shows, it's all networking.
Yeah.
You meet somebody, and then you just be sweet. It's very easy. Just be genuine and kind to people, and if you are that way, even if you're okay at your instrument, you'll probably get calls just because people want to be around you.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you meet somebody, and then the next thing you know, you get a message from this person later on down the road, like, hey, would you want to play for my band? And then you play for their band, and then you go on tour, and then somebody in one of those bands sees you play, and then you get a message from them down the road, and they're like, hey, you know what I mean? That's literally all it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like, from that Craigslist thing. And like, once I got my kit, it was just every tour I did, I would meet somebody, and then from that tour, I would play for them or play for one of their friends' bands, and then, you know what I mean? It just
Picking it up.
after a while, after a while, you get better at your instrument, you get more professional, you learn. The business side is so important. You pay attention to the business side, you learn more, then you're able to make more money because you know what you're worth, you know what bands make, so you know like what's possible. And then, you play for enough bands, and then eventually a bigger band is going to hear about it. Maybe they're slightly bigger than the band you just played for, but they're going to hear about it, and then you play for them, and then get more noticed, and then a bigger band, and that's literally it. It's just, but it's crazy. It's like, it's so fucking works. It's
like
amazing.
snowballing your way to success. In terms of motivating yourself to continue pursuing this line of work, how do you go about it?
Well, it's like along the lines of what you just said, like the first mistake that anyone could make, or the worst thing that you could do, that's gonna, if you do this, you're gonna assure that you can't do it. If you tell yourself you can't do it, of course you can't. If you think you can't, if you tell yourself you can't, like, you're not gonna try your best, or you're just gonna give up before you even start. I think the thing is, that I've learned, it's, again, along the lines of what you just said, like, if you want something in this world, for some reason, I don't really get why it works this way, but I turned 28 this year, and I've been through a lot. So the number one thing that I've learned is, what you think is what you attract. And if you think stuff enough, and you dream stuff enough, and put the work put tiny steps into making it happen, and even believe in yourself a little bit, even if you fake it, even if you don't really believe in yourself, but you just tell yourself out loud, like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Even if inside you're fucking scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if you're like, just tell yourself, like, yeah, I could do that. If you really want it, to me, that's where it starts. If you can wake up and do that, then you've got it. You just don't give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged by it can't be a competition in music. Like, there's so many insanely incredible musicians.
Yeah.
And with all the prodigies and shit, you could breed a child to be like the most amazing musician. You can't not try this or not pursue this because you're not going to be the best. I personally don't think there can be a best. There's always, to me, it's just always a shit ton of super talented people, and then it's subjective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The best to this person is not the best to that person.
Yeah.
You know? So you don't do it for that. If you do things for the right reason, I think intention is like everything. So if you have good intentions, and if you go into this with the right reasons of, like, for me personally, I went into this because I wouldn't be alive right now without music, and just to be able to turn pain and express it in a way, to turn it into art like that can influence people that way, it's one of the most powerful things that we have. And then the feeling of playing music and playing drums, and then alone is one thing that's incredible. But then to do it in front of a group of people, and especially the bigger the crowd gets, it is literally like better than any drug you could ever imagine. Like, to give off genuine energy and like genuine happiness of what you're getting to do, and to look out and see other people fucking smiling and giving you that same energy back, is literally like nothing could beat that. If you do it for that reason, and to try to make the world a better place, and to try to do, like, all I want to do is circa save my life. If I can save or influence anyone in a positive way, or save anyone's life by anything that I put out, I could die happy. That's what I want to achieve. Yeah. And so I never did this for money. And I think it's important to, if you go into this to make money, it's not going to work. But the way the universe works is, again, if you do things for the right reasons, that comes. Yeah. Like, with hard work and determination and doing things for the right reasons, and if you are good to other people, good will come back. Yeah. I don't know why. It's crazy, but it does.
Yes. Continuing with that train of thought, have you always been someone who understood this side of music and pursuing a career in music, or was this a lesson that you had to learn over the years?
Yeah, I actually, so obviously, like, I've always loved drumming and playing drums, but I was never like, I'm not trying to shit talk myself, but I never felt like a very smart kid. I was never like, I was one of the dumber kids usually, and I was like late. I was like always late to the party. You know what I mean? So I didn't even find out that, or put together, that people playing in big bands got paid for that until I was 15 years old. Like, I know that sounds so dumb, but it wasn't until I found YouTube when I was 15. Yeah. And Dream Theater is like one of my favorite bands. Like, I wouldn't be here without Dream Theater. I found them on YouTube, and then I saw in the comments people talking about Mike Portnoy, the drummer, and then I looked at videos of him, and I can't find this video anymore, but there's a video of Mike Portnoy that I watched when I was 15 that I'll never forget this. This is like the reason I wanted to become a professional drummer. Like, it was like he lives in Long Island in this fucking sick ass big house, and it was like a Cribs type episode. And they walk up to his house, and he like opens the door, and they walk in, and he fucking, I'll never forget this. This is insane. He like shows them into the house, and like as he's like doing this, he's like, "Welcome to the house that Drums built." And that, hearing those words shattered everything that I knew, and literally from that second, there has never been another thought about what I wanted to do, because I was like, wait, what do you mean house that Drums built? What does that mean? And I know it sounds stupid, but then I looked it up, and I was like, oh shit, they had like a fat guarantee. They were getting, like $50,000 a fucking show plus and shit, especially back in the heyday.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And then I looked it up and saw that, and I'm like, oh my God, like, this dude doesn't do anything but play drums in one band, and he has all this stuff. Like, again, not that stuff is important, but just to see that was even possible, I had no idea until that moment. So before then, I liked sports. Like, I liked football and baseball and basketball, but I sucked at them. So there was no way I was ever going to be like paid for it. Yeah. But I didn't know that. So I was just kind of like, up until I was 15, I didn't really know what was going on. I just kind of played sports here and there and like played drums, but I had no direction. I had no like vision yet until then. And then it was like,
world of possibility.
Yeah. As soon as I realized that you could get paid to play drums and like you could live off of that, that was it. I was like, that's what I'm doing. If this guy can do it, I can do it. Because then I got obsessed with him, and which, again, obsessive person, I can't help it. I got super obsessed with him and looked everything up on him. And then one of the things he said was, and this also sticks with me, not to like take it off subject or to over talk, but I saw these quotes where he said he only worked 2 normal jobs in his life. One was at like a pizza place, and then one was a Chinese takeout place. And then he said like one day, like the band hadn't even like taken off yet, and he just said, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm not supposed to do this. Like I'm meant to play drums. And he just quit with no backup plan and went to play drums.
Yeah.
And then I have this quote. I actually have this quote saved in my phone. I have a couple like inspirational quotes saved in my phone. This is the other thing I'll never forget. Changed my life. After he said that, the next line was, I told myself, like my parents always wanted me to have a backup plan. And I said, if you have a plan B, it distracts from plan A. And I was like, damn. And so I've never had a plan B. I did I followed his footsteps, and I told myself, if this dude can do it, why can't I do it? Why can't anyone else do it? There's no reason. So I took the leap of faith too. I did the same thing. I fucking quit my normal job. I hated it. I never had a good one, and it always felt wrong. And I just took the leap of faith, said fuck it, and quit that job. And I haven't worked a normal job since. That was like 4 years ago.
Please tell me your story after high school. Did you finish high school, leave high school? What is your story?
Oh man, this is kind of crazy. So this is where shit like really started to kind of change for me. I went to this high school called Sunnyvale. I went there for elementary school and like middle school, and then we were supposed to be the first graduating class. Like they opened up a high school right before we graduated 8th grade, and so we just went there. But I wanted to graduate early because I had an opportunity to go on tour again, and that's all I wanted to do, you know. So my dad got me into this charter school thing. It was like a accelerated learning program where you could graduate, like as fast as you could do the work, you could be done. So I left the school that I went to and went to this school, and I think I graduated in like 3 months. So I graduated in like March, or yeah, I think it was like 2 months early. And I went on this tour. Actually, ironically, you know the band Kublicon?
No, I haven't heard of them.
They're so sick. Okay, they're from Texas, but they're like, I'll send you some of their shit later. It's sick. The guitarist from the band Kublicon, Nolan, was in this band, and it was another Christian band, but it was a different one. And we were going to Joplin, Missouri, to play this show, and something happened. There was like a storm warning, but it was just started off super like mild, and then we were there for load-in, and then the next thing you know, it was like the reports were saying it was going to be worse, so they decided to cancel the show. So we were just like stuck at this venue, and like we're not even going to get paid, like nothing was going to happen, and so we didn't really know what to do. And then the next thing you know, this storm turns into a like severe tornado warning. And then this is fucking crazy. This is legitimately, I might get emotional telling this story just because it's wild. Not that I have a problem with that. I'm just like prepping you. But so this tornado warning goes off, the sirens and shit start to go off. And then I'm from fucking Texas. So we're in Tornado Alley, basically. So we're so used to, like, my entire life since I was a child, there's been tornado warnings all the time at school, everywhere, and I've never seen a tornado. So me being a fucking little arrogant little like 19-year-old, I was like blowing it off and like joking about it, being like, dude, I live in Texas, okay? I'm like, you know where we live, dude? I'm like, come on. We see this shit all the time. We see warnings all the time. Nothing ever happens. I was like, nothing's gonna happen. It's gonna be fine. Pretty much right after I said that, it sounded like a train was like coming close, like very, very close to the venue. It sounded like there was train tracks like right next to the venue. And I asked the owner, I was like, yo, where's the train around here? And he's like, dude, there's no train like anywhere around here. And that was the sound of like the tornado. And we didn't know. And then we were in like the back room. And there was like a little snack. It's like back where the snack bar was, and there was like a little window where you could open like the snack bar and see out to the front of the venue. And we opened this little window and we look like out the front doors, and it's like almost pitch black outside. And this happened like so fast. It was almost pitch black outside, and then it was so windy and so fucking loud. We literally saw cars start to like almost float by, like, and there was trees flying by. There was like so much shit. That seemed, after we saw that, it seemed like in the blink of an eye, it was over. It was like, all I remember is seeing that shit and then it being super loud. And then the next thing I know, it was quiet. And we left the back room and went out to the front. All the windows were busted. Like, all the windows for the venue were busted. The doors were busted. I'll never forget this because this is like still probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Walk out the front door. We look to the left. Everything, it doesn't look that bad. So we're like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. There's some like debris and shit, like some stuff smashed, but it doesn't look that bad. We look to the right and there's nothing. Like, literally from where our venue was, literally the building next door and everything to the right was gone.
Wow.
So if that shit, I should be dead.
It just
That's
missed you.
all I could think of in that moment when I looked over to the right and saw that was, if that was like 10 feet to the left were gone. Like, every restaurant that was there was like a KFC and all this shit, was literally all that was left was like a bent pole with obviously no sign, and like the concrete slab that like when they built it started with. There was like nothing. And then there was bent metal everywhere. There was fucking water lines and gas lines spraying all over the place. There was every type of debris you could imagine. There was like bricks from houses, pieces from like cars, trees, everything you can imagine on the road. We start walking up the street. I'm sorry, this is like kind of long.
No.
But
no.
We start walking the street, and I'll never forget this either because this was like fucked up. It was like a Christian band, so I wasn't necessarily Christian, but I've always had like a big heart, you know. So like obviously we're okay. We need to go fucking help people. Like, this shit's crazy, but let's collect ourselves and let's figure out what we need to do next. The next move is we need to help people. We're not hurt. Let's find the people that are hurt and see what we can do. So we went to go check shit out, and we started walking down the street. And there's just people, like, it's so fucked up, man. There's people just like women and kids and people everywhere just like crying on the streets, like next to their next to their businesses that are like completely fucking gone. They're just like on the ground, like holding themselves like in tears, like because they just lost their business. And then we walk past that, and then this guy walks past us like stumbling down the street, like missing an eyeball, like literally like holding his like socket bleeding, and like walking, like it was all I can remember in that moment. I videoed it with my cell phone, and this was like 8 years ago. So I've been through a lot of phones since then, and I'm upset in a way that I never kept this video, but I remember watching it later and it just fucked me up, so I deleted it. But I got like a video of like the whole thing, and it was legitimately, all I can think about is like an apocalypse movie or a zombie movie. Like, it was literally like it was happening. Like, or like I was on a movie set of some fucking apocalypse movie. Like, it was so hard to comprehend what you're looking at. Like, and seeing people be that upset was just breaking it was just constantly, your heart is being broken like every fucking couple steps you take. Then I'm almost done, I promise. I have to convey how like this changed my life. Like, seeing this was the first time I had ever realized like mortality. You know what I mean? This is the first time I ever like seen dead bodies and stuff. So it was like game changing. We were trying to walk up the street more to try to help people or see what was going on, and there was like we were like some of the first people there. So we got there like right after this happened, and like we were getting there like before the cops were, but we started seeing cops show up to where we were walking towards, and they started like, these cops pulled up and like jumped out of the car and like started like taping this area off, but we still got really close. There was a fucking car, like a truck, like parked, taking up the whole road, and we got closer. We were like approaching from the back and like got over to the front. When we got closer to the front, there was a fucking tree through the windshield impaling the driver, and he was just dead in the front seat.
Oh my god.
Like, the odds of that fucking happening are like it's so fucked, but like I can never forget the image.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just, and that was the moment where I like broke. I was like, dude, we're kids, dude. I'm supposed to be walking the stage like next week. This is fucked, man. Like we had to walk back to the venue and like
Collect yourself.
cry. First of all, we just all cried together.
Mm.
I mean, to even, and then try to process what's going on. And then we tried to pull ourselves together and be like, okay, we have to do something though. This is like chaos. So we took the band van and we went around and like tried to take people that needed to go to the hospital. But the last thing I'm going to say, this is like also one more fucked up thing that happened. But we got, I don't know if we heard this on the radio or something. I think it was the radio, but we heard about this like church, not a big one, but this like church that was having a little service that got hit and saying that they needed help or like people to like rescue. And so we drove to this little church, and when we got there, it was like crumbled. No. And oh man, this is probably the moment when I'm gonna get emotional. There was only like a couple people outside when we got there because this church was like crumbled to the ground, and there was an old man standing outside, like his upper lip had been like ripped off, and he was like crying because his wife was inside. And we went inside to try and see if there was anybody still alive, and it was pretty much not happening. And then somebody had to go outside and tell him. And I couldn't handle it, so I had to like go back to the van and like take some time because I couldn't witness this shit. And
I'm so sorry, dude.
Whenever
That's
we,
so rough.
That's okay. Like whenever we were like going through the rubble trying to see if there was anybody still alive, we were literally walking on like bricks and shit, and I stepped on this I stepped on this one area, and it was like this little wall was like barely held together, and I stepped on this area and it like separated into bricks, and then I saw a little arm, and I would think I like was standing on a little girl.
Oh my god. Dude.
That shit. I have only told that story to a handful of people because it is very tough to talk about, and it changed my life so much.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like, I kind of used to be kind of like an arrogant little shit, and I think that's probably why I didn't have many friends and stuff growing up, and that just destroyed it completely. And I was sweet before that, but that made me so fucking empathetic,
yeah.
And so like understanding and like compassionate about things, and just that like, dude, you could die tomorrow. You know what I mean? So if that happens, I want to leave a good impression. You
Yes.
know, and like when I meet people, I don't shake their fucking hand. I
You hug
hug
them.
them. And when I leave, I don't shake their hand. I fucking hug them because I know it sounds stupid, but that could be it. Even if something doesn't happen to me, especially touring this much, you know, it's like it's
Yeah.
scary. I've almost died like 3 times on the road. Like separate from that, I've almost died like 2 other times. Like once with Faceless and once with like Abigail. It's
Faceless is so
like
recent, dude.
the the van fucking spun out like in ice, and like we got so lucky that the car coming up next was a snowplow. If it would have been a regular car, they would have they wouldn't have seen it and rammed into us. Who know? Somebody could have died. Somebody could have been injured. Same
No.
thing almost happened with Abigail, but we didn't get. It's like it's just you never know. You know what I mean? Like there's no way to be a completely. And so that's why I'm like, all of that shit
Mm,
is why I am this way.
yep.
Is because it's just like I've seen shit that people, don't get me wrong, there's people that have it way worse than me. There's people that have seen way crazier shit than me.
Yeah.
But like after seeing that, there's no way that I can take that shit for granted. Like nothing. You know what I mean? So we like surviving that tornado and seeing all that shit, and then
Yeah. Having to see the out.
we helped for like we helped until it was like dark, and then we drove a couple hours or like to Springfield, Missouri, because that was in Joplin, Missouri,
Mm,
in like April. It was like April or May of like 2011, and it was like one of the worst tornadoes like in history. It was like almost an F6. And we didn't really know because we were just there. Like you don't know the magnitude of it, you know.
yeah.
But
Till
we
after.
got to Springfield at our friend's house, and it was the first time we had seen news coverage on it, and we just started crying all over again because we saw how
Mm,
high the numbers were. It was like 200. It was like, I don't want to get this wrong, but it was like 150 people missing and like 200 dead or something insane. Like
yeah.
something insane. And so we just lost it because we were like, dang, we had no idea it was that much. And then
Yeah.
just seeing what it looks like aerially and like, because I don't even know if that's a word, but but the air, it's like
Yeah.
seeing shit on the news, like aerial view. It's like
Mm,
this is
it's hectic.
absolutely
Mm,
unreal, and it just makes, you know, when you're a kid,
mm,
something, I feel like something happens to everyone where they realize, oh shit, this is real.
mm,
Like, you know what I mean? When you realize that like you can die,
yeah.
and that shit is fucking terrifying, and I feel like it'll absolutely change you.
Yes.
Not everyone, but
But
for me personally, I can never. I learned a lot from that stuff, and like I don't believe, I'm not, like I said, my parents are Christian and they try to raise me Christian, but I just don't identify with it. I don't. It just a lot of there's a lot of things that I just can't agree with, and that's fine if they are. I respect everyone, you know that. But
mm,
me personally, I think we've talked about this a little bit, but I just, instead of saying God, I like to say the universe. That's just my personal thing, and I, after all this shit, I feel like the universe has me here for a reason. Like, if I was supposed to be dead, I would
you
have
would be.
died.
Yes. Yes.
I take every one of those as a second chance,
Yes.
or a third chance, or a fourth chance, or whatever you want to fucking say.
Yes.
And I feel that. And
Yes.
I know that if that happens, there's that much scary shit, then it's trying to teach me lessons, and I'd be an idiot if I don't listen.
Yes.
So I think it's very important for me over the last couple years, especially. I've really paid attention to that and felt it and listened and learned so many fucking lessons. It's insane.
That's amazing. So sorry that you had to go through that. But I think it's for a greater purpose because you're an incredible human being and you're inspiring so many people. And there was a reason you made it. You made it through all of that, dude. You fucking incredible. Just like flowing with all the goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so important.
You're such a strong soul, dude, and I'm so glad that you are doing what you're doing and fucking shit up in the world because you're fucking awesome. What do you love the most about touring? Give me your favorite things about going on a tour with a band, with a new band, with a band that you've been with for a while, with a band that you're sessioning for. What is the differences? What are your favorites? Tell me.
Okay. Um, I mean, the coolest, like, my two, I guess maybe three. My two favorite main things, like playing the shows, are obviously like awesome. But A to to just get to see places that you never really thought you'd get to see when you're younger is incredible. Like to wake up in a different state or a different country every day is fucking insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that is so cool. And then on top of that, which is like paired with it, is the people, like, and the friends, like the internet friends and stuff that you get to see that you thought you'd never get to meet. Like people that you've known online for like years, or that you've followed for years, and then next thing you know, you wake up and you're like, oh shit, you get a message and they're like, hey, am I gonna see you tonight? And you're like, oh shit, I'm here tonight. Like I'm across the fucking United States, but I'm gonna get to hang out with this person that I feel like I'm already friends, like I'm best friends with.
Yeah.
That's probably like the coolest shit in the world to me,
Mm.
because the internet like makes it possible.
Mm.
I think there's just a lot of people struggle with anxiety now, and they just overthink, and they think that it's gonna be like awkward. Even if it is, who cares? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But it is cool because, like you said, if you're friends with somebody online, the classic line is like, "Oh, I follow you on Facebook," or "Oh, I follow you on Instagram," and then right off the bat, you're like, "Oh, no way, dude! Thank you. That's so sick." And then
Yeah,
and it's like it's all cool.
exactly.
It's so fucking awesome.
It's the perfect icebreaker. It's like the millennial icebreaker.
It literally is. It is the perfect millennial icebreaker.
Awesome.
That's
Okay.
hilarious.
So meeting new people, all of that, it's definitely something that's um, very motivating and fulfilling. What would you say is the most, you know, the part about doing what you do as a job? What is the part about it that feels the most like it's a job?
It is just. It depends on what you are doing, I think. Um, but even still, we're all pretty much in the same fucking boat. So like, it it just feels like you never. The only time, okay, basically, it feels like the only time that you're not working is like when you're playing the set,
Mm,
which is only like 30 minutes or an hour long if you're headlining
okay.
every day. That's it. Everything else is you're either
Mm,
you wake up early, you drive all day, you're stuck in a van all day long, you get to the venue, you immediately get out, immediately pick up a bunch of heavy shit, move it inside, immediately set up all your stuff, do all this shit, then you have to check stuff, and then you get a tiny bit of time to like, explore, maybe go eat somewhere really close, and then come back, and then if you're like me, I have so much shit to do. Like,
yeah.
I'm grateful as fuck. But I'm to the point now where, like, on every tour I'm doing, I've got, like, an interview to do, or I have a drum session to program, or I have a video to edit, or I have drums to mix, or like, when I get to the venue, any downtime I would have, I'm in the green room on my fucking computer grinding this video out, or grinding this mix out, or doing something, or answering emails, or
Hustling.
one of my main things I try to do so hard. I don't care how big I get. I want to try so hard to get back to and answer as many people as I can. Facebook comments, Instagram messages, Facebook messages. I don't want anyone to feel left out. Obviously, the more messages I get and the more this gets worse, it's harder to keep up with all this. And it does, I'm not going to lie, it does get very stressful. And me and my roommate Cameron have talked about this a lot because he struggles with the same thing. Like, just it gets overwhelming sometimes. And it is impossible to get back to everyone. But I try very hard. And I also very OCD, so I schedule everything out. So like I will schedule out time specifically to sit on my phone and answer everyone back. And it feels fucking amazing.
Sounds like me.
It feels great. It's sick. I love it.
Yeah.
But I'm doing that like in what would be the downtime.
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
Exactly.
So I literally feel like, and then when the show's over, you pack up your stuff, you pack up the van, you literally go eat, and then you drive every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun, but it is a fucking job, dude, and you do not stop. You barely sleep.
Yes.
Your brain is always fucking, like, it's fun, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. It is my dream job. But I really think that people that don't tour, or people that say you're living the dream, which we are, they don't realize how much of a job it really is.
Yeah.
Especially for the people that do multiple things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're a vocalist, hopefully you'll help other people carry in the gear. But if you don't do anything else, if you're not a photographer, if you don't video edit, if you don't make playthroughs, if you don't do any of that, you have hours more downtime than somebody else that's a photographer or a drum tech as well. There's multiple tours where I play and then I drum tech as well. Those tours I have had almost mental breakdowns on because you get no rest. Like, you are working like 12, 16-hour days.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it is brutal. Loud music all the time. Like, it's rough. So it's sick. Again,
Yes.
let me.
Yeah.
But
you need a work ethic.
There's no gift without a price.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for what I get to do, but we put the fucking work in, man. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I bust my ass, and I obsess over this, and I do a lot of stuff, and everybody in touring bands does a lot more and puts a lot more into, I think, what people assume.
Yes, definitely.
You know what I mean? I think a lot more people assume that there's more groupies and drugs and shit. Like, don't get me wrong, that stuff still happens.
Yeah.
But it is not it is not like rock star movies and stupid shit like that.
It's not only that.
It probably is for the bigger bands, but for any mid-sized band, it is not like that at all.
Yeah.
So, it's way more work than anything. Once you get up to those bigger levels, you have more leisure, you can fucking chill, and you have more perks, but all of us are still in the grinding stages right now. All of us want to get there. That's like everybody's goals are like to be in a giant band, and be in a fucking tour bus and like actually be able to have time to do stuff. But I personally feel like I still haven't put in enough work to be there yet. Yeah. I've toured for almost 12 years now, and I still have a long way to go. I still got a lot to do. There's a lot of things I want to accomplish and a lot of goals that I have planned and a lot of stuff I'm working on that hopefully eventually will take me to where I want to go. It just, I have no idea how long it's going to take. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just, I have, it's a lot of work right now to pay off in the end to where you finally get to chill. It's literally like our retirement almost. You know what I mean? A musician's retirement is trying to be is if you reach rock star level,
then you can
you're retired.
Chill. Yeah. you're when
Exactly.
you say you've got a lot of goals and things for the future, planned for the future, do you have a specific way that you plan these goals out?
Um, I I don't ever really. I think there's details that are like there's no way that I can know, but I have all my general plans. I know like exactly what I want. So like I want to have like I'll pretty much just tell you. Like I want to have a Sabian cymbal endorsement. I want to have a Tama drum endorsement. Evans drumheads endorsement. I pretty much have the other two endorsements that I wanted, which is crazy. Um, I want to buy a Tesla with nothing but drums. I want to buy my dream home with nothing but drums. Um, like home studio so I can help other people out.
Mm.
That's another reason why I want to get free cymbals one day is because my whole plan is to always give back. So like when I'm big enough to be able to get free cymbals, then at shows and shit, I can fucking give them to people like a fucking kid in the front or something. You know what I mean? That probably make me happier than it would make
Yeah.
him. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the shit that I live for. Or like having a little extra
Mm.
so that I see somebody online or some kid that's fucking amazing at drums, right? But his cymbals are shot and he needs a new cymbal. I just want to be able to. I want to be to the point where I can just send him a cymbal for his birthday or something, or just say, "Hey, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. You're gonna make it." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's like ultimate goals for me
Yes.
is to be able to have enough
Mm.
and achieve enough from playing drums and doing this and trying to be positive to where I can have a little extra of stuff to give back.
Mm. That's amazing.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's cool.
I don't know how
Gonna
that's the
happen.
thing that
Yeah.
this thing that's in the dark is I don't know how that's gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna be with one giant band and then I'm gonna just do other stuff for fun, but only tour with like one giant band, or if it's gonna be two big bands, or I have no idea the
Yeah.
details, but I know exactly what I want.
Want. That's
And
awesome.
exactly. And the other thing I do, which I put out um I go outside like every night. Maybe not every single night because I don't ever want to lie. I want to be honest. But almost every night I go outside and look at the stars and I talk to them and I just talk to the universe and I tell it what I want. I always start off with being thankful. I always start off with, yo, thank you that I fucking woke up today.
Mm.
Thank you that I get another chance to do this. Thank you that this is my job. Thank you that this is what I get to do. Like, this is unbelievable.
Mm.
And then just say, like, help keep me humble. Like, I want to be a positive force in the world. And I want these things. And then I also write them down. I have, like, 2 sticky notes of my main goals in my wallet that I carry around everywhere with me.
That's
And then
awesome.
around my house, I have other like smaller goals written
Yeah.
down.
Okay. That's a great idea. I might actually adopt that.
I honestly think I honestly think that that's like it,
The key.
I feel like I wouldn't have achieved what I've even achieved so far if I didn't do that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I feel like it definitely helps.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask is, has there ever been a time where you've been particularly like um well treated and just treated like a king by a venue or an organizer or something?
Absolutely. Uh, Europe is kind of like that in general.
Hmm.
Um, especially for American bands, the hospitality is just like way sicker.
Mhm.
But I will say the only time I've truly felt that so far was when I filled in for that Star Wars band, Galactic Empire,
Yeah.
in Australia. That was one of my favorite things I've ever done, because not only was like the hospitality like crazy, and we played like two or three normal shows at venues, which were sick, and the hospitality was sick. But then the other shows that we played were like Australian Comic Cons. So it was just like these giant buildings, and then like this giant green room with like all this shit. And then they bought the company that like put on the tour. We literally had 5-star hotel room.
Wow.
Like it was either 4 or 5 star, but if it was 4, I mean, I don't know any better, so it looked like a 5-star to me. And for some reason, I kept getting my own room. So for like half of the trip, for like half of the times we got rooms like every night, and you have to like fly everywhere.
Mhm.
And half the time I got my own room, and like would go into this room, and I thought I was gonna have to have a roommate, and I go into this room and use my card key, and it's like a fucking suite almost, and it's got like on the fucking big screen TV it says welcome, and it has my name on it, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening, dude? And there's this giant like king size bed to myself. I'm like, this is. And then the door, somebody knocks on the door. This is in Sydney, by the way.
Mhm.
In Sydney, like that thing just happened, and I was like, "Oh, this is fucking insane." I like put it on my Instagram story. I was like, "This is fucking crazy." And then there's a knock on the door, and then this motherfucker is like, a chocolate plate for you, sir." And I was like, "I didn't order this." And he's like, "No, it's complimentary." And I was like, "What the fuck? Like, you're just gonna bring me a fucking piece of chocolate cake just because I'm here?" I was like, "Dude, thank you." It's
That's
insane. It was like
amazing.
such a crazy and beautiful
Wow.
experience that whole thing was.
That sounds like the dream. I get excited about like a sweet on the pillow, a fucking whole piece of cake.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
oh yeah. I was straight up just blown away. That whole thing was unbelievable.
So at that on that tour, did food get catered for, or on tours does food get catered for? Or do you have to sort yourself out?
So it's like 50-50 usually. Like whenever a band um, negotiates like their contract, like their guarantee and the hospitality and everything, they either if the venue sells food, or if there's a food place like next door, 9 times out of 10, instead of just giving you money for food, you get a free meal. So they'll give you like a meal ticket and every day. So that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
If they don't have a restaurant, then they give you what's called buyout, and then they give you like $10 or $15 to eat, and then you can just eat wherever you want.
That's awesome. Do you?
But
Mhm.
in Europe, it's crazy. It's so fucking cool. In Europe, when you get to the venue, they have what's called catering there already, and it's not like a meal yet, but when you get there, they have like orange juice, apple juice. This was like I've only done like 2 Europe tours,
Mhm.
but one was with Faceless and one was with Abigail, and both of them like were it was like this. Like you get to the venue and there's like sodas, waters, sparkling water, apple juice, orange juice, uh, candy, like a meat tray, a veggie tray, like bread. It's like all this like 6 snacks, and then you sound check, and then like after you sound check and shit later, they bring you a home cooked meal. Like somebody at
Wow.
the venue or somebody will make like some sick beautiful meal,
Yeah.
and I don't know why that's a thing in Europe, but they usually like almost always home cook it for you, and it's fucking incredible, dude.
That's
It's
amazing.
so sick.
So have you found that across Europe, like in most countries,
Hmm.
they like to give home cooked meals?
Yeah,
Wow, that's very interesting.
yeah, which is not all, but like
Yeah.
most of the time, because I think I've done like 20 or 22 countries now
Hmm.
or something like that, and it's pretty much been the same, like consistent.
Yeah. Have
So
you?
it's crazy.
That's definitely something that's very interesting because I would assume being a first world country they'd have fast food or um, something else other than healthier home cooked
Me
food.
too.
Yeah. Um,
But
okay.
that's what's awesome. I guess it makes sense
Mm,
because if you think about it, like if they bought fast food for that many people, it would be
yeah.
so expensive when they could just
Yeah.
go to the market,
And
buy a bunch of ingredients, and make it, and like.
serve everyone else with one
But
pot. Yeah.
over here, we're idiots, so we're just like, here's money, eat whatever you want,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess
or you have to eat
it's
our food for free, or you can go where you want. I was in this band called Seeker. That's actually like the band. Like this is a band house that we live in, and it was like Seeker's band house. Um, the guitarist of Seeker now plays bass in Veil of Nath. That's why I just filled in with Veil of Nath. And we were on tour with this band Cognitive.
Mhm.
That's super sick from New Jersey, and we had just met, but we became like best friends right away. And we went to this Chinese buffet before a show, and it was like fun because we had a lot of fun, but the food was so bad, and like everyone got like sick.
Oh no.
It was so funny. Like everyone had to like shit before, like both bands. Like before we went on stage, we were like, "Oh fuck, we should have done this."
Before you played. Oh
Yeah, it was dumb.
no. Ah, and that's so sad because
Probably,
y yeah, sorry.
go ahead. I've probably been to like two more Chinese buffets on tour since then, and they were fine.
Okay.
So we said
Yeah.
we just went for it. We were like, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
that one place.
It's okay. It's okay. Has there been any other hangouts that have been really memorable?
I was about to say actually, two, both with Shadow of Intent actually, um, because their headliner tour in January, it went so well. It was a dream come true. It was like seriously unbelievable. Like the support that tour got was like mind blowing. It did like twice as good as like anybody thought it was gonna do. So we celebrated a couple times, and one time we went to Olive Garden as a band, and it was fucking sick. Like I hadn't been to Olive Garden in like years, and it used to be terrible. And I guess they've redone everything. They've redone the menu. And a really good friend of mine, like, she told me about this like secret that you get the chicken Alfredo from there, but you sub the grilled chicken for chicken parm chicken. And we like half of us got that, and it was like so fucking good. We were like, for days we were talking about it. We were like, damn, that Olive Garden really hit the spot. like 3 days later. And then at the end, like to like actually celebrate, at the end we fucking went to Red Lobster, and it was amazing. It was
Yeah.
so good.
Okay. Awesome. So, would you say that you're a food person?
Um, it's funny because I'm like torn because I love food and it's really good.
Mm.
I'm a very picky eater, but the stuff that I love it. But I'm just so obsessive and fucking insane that like I just forget to eat. Like
Yeah.
so it's like I do like it, but then I'll tell people like that, people that know me, I'll be like, I love food, and they're like, you don't love food, you eat like once a fucking day. And I'm like, damn it, it's not, I don't really do it on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
But I do. I just get so busy that it's not like, I'm more worried about getting my work done.
Yes.
And stuff than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I realize that it's not healthy, but I treat food as like a reward system. So like, I will grind my ass. Like I'll do drum videos, like play drums for like 4 hours, or shoot drum videos, and then spend another like 6 or 8 hours editing the videos and then bouncing them down. And then before I know it, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I literally haven't thought about eating one time. It's not. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just, again, I'm such an obsessive person that it is just, when I'm into something, it is like just tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Like I'm fucking determined to get that done. Like it's gonna get done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the only cool thing about it is, like, let me tell you, it might not be healthy, but eating a meal after you've done a bunch of shit and it's the only thing you've had, that shit hits like nothing else. I'm like, it's like the best. Every day it's like the best meal you've ever had. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get so fat right now. Fuck, give a shit. I deserve it now. Here's the thing. I'm almost 28, but with enough, I feel like, as long as you don't have like a condition or anything that makes you gain weight easily, if you just play, literally all I do is play drums, do push-ups occasionally, and have sex. And that's all you really need. I don't worry about my weight because it is like, it stays the same.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I barely have to do anything.
Yeah.
It's just, I should probably eat more than once a day. Like, I'm literally never hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been 13 years since I've done this. Like half my life.
Yeah.
So my body is so trained that, like, even when I am thinking about it, like, there are times when I do think about food, but most of the time it's like 4 or 5 o'clock and my body is used to not eating till later, so it's not even hungry. And I'm like,
hello.
Damn it.
So
I don't want to waste money and like force feed myself, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's also the other problem. So, there are also videos that I've seen that say that it's actually not that bad for you to eat once a day, based on our biology and our evolution, and the fact that we...
Well, intermittent fasting too is like apparently like kind of healthy.
Yeah, apparently it's really good.
Which is what I do, and I didn't even know that.
Without even trying, which is great.
It's sick.
You're keeping your body at a great state, which is awesome. And so many people are doing it now. Okay, cool. So, when you're spending all this time working and then eating at 1 o'clock in the morning, how much of this time do you spend smoking weed? Do you smoke throughout your day? Once a day?
Most of it.
Yeah.
Like throughout the entire day.
Yeah. Would you...
Before I play, when I'm on tour,
Yeah.
we wake up in the morning and we smoke weed. We go to a gas station, buy snacks, stop and smoke weed. I have a pen, like I buy cartridges like in the legal states, and then just kind of like get extra so that I try not to run out. In the van, I fucking pass my pen around. We all get fucking ripped on the whole trip, and then we get to where we're going, and then we fucking roll up more weed. And then we sound check, and then we smoke more weed, and then we smoke weed before we play, and then I fucking pass my pen around on stage while we play. And then after we're done.
So, all the time.
So basically all day.
You need a weed sponsor that needs to go on your gold list.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the funny thing is, there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of musicians that I've found that I try to give them like a hit before they're about to play, and they're like, oh no, I can't do that before I play. And I understand that, but I always tell them the same thing. You know why I can play stoned? Because I practice stoned. If you practice stoned, it's normal.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, it's like, it's a win-win situation, because if you practice stoned but you play sober, you'll still play great. If you practice sober and try to play stoned, you'll fuck yourself.
Yes.
So I'm fine.
Yeah.
I just smoke weed all the time, because if there's a chance that I don't have weed before I play, who cares? I'm still gonna play good.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're still 100%. That's awesome. I've also come across a lot of musicians who do say that, but that's a good way to put it. It's just it's about practicing in that state as well, just so that you're comfortable.
Yep.
And if you're comfortable, then you'll be able to do it. But if you're not, then I guess you won't be. Is weed legal in your state? Where you?
Oh, in Texas, it's very illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish it was.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because Oklahoma's right above us, and there's normally like a rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma because of stupid ego or something dumb, because of stupid football teams. Who cares? Oklahoma fucking medicalized weed. So I'm like, damn. I'm like, if you guys are like such rivals, or you guys have so much beef, shouldn't you want to medicalize it too, to like be better than them?
Yeah. Just like, full on legalize.
Fully legalize it so we beat them? You know, come on, man.
Compete, man.
But, I mean, this will definitely be like one of the last states that does it. It'll definitely be near the end. But I'm going to be honest. I think everything is like, it's moving in a good direction. Like, more states, and if there's not, thankfully there's not like years and years in between this. So like every year there's a few more states medicalizing, which will move up to recreation. You know what I mean? So eventually, before too long, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because they'll stop being buttheads and realize how much fucking money, if they like money so much, they'll realize how much extra money there'll be if every state was legal weed, dude. Huh. You want to talk about stimulating the economy? Just make fucking weed legal everywhere, and it's fine. There'll be too much money. We'll build school houses for all the kids. All this money.
That's how I feel about Africa. Everyone here is worried about money. Fucking legalize weed, and we'll have all the money.
Everyone will buy all the weed.
Exactly.
There will be lots of money made. I don't. Colorado and Washington did that, and Colorado literally had when that first happened, they literally made so much money that they had to put it into like schools and like stuff that is helpful.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God, can you imagine if every state did that?
Yeah.
Stop being a dummy. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but yeah, there's so much politics involved with that I don't even want to like think about what it would take to get people to be serious about legalizing weed. Okay, so how important is weed in your creative process?
Very important.
Okay, would you say it's something that is detrimental to who you are as a musician? Would you be able to be the same musician without?
That would scare me to say something like that, because that gets into problem type shit. If you feel like you have to have a substance, that's just dangerous to me. So I wouldn't say if I had to be, I just smoke weed because I can. Like, and I really like it. Like if something happened and it was like bad for me or something, and then I had to stop, I would, and it'd be no problem. I would still play the drums the same way that I do. I would still do everything the same way that I do. The only thing I will say is that it definitely helps me. To me, when I'm stoned, I improvise cooler ideas that I wouldn't normally think of. So, like, that's part of why I like to play stoned all the time, is, like, almost every record that I track, I improvise, like, in the studio on the spot. And my best results have come from when I was stoned. Still not bad or, like, worse necessarily. It's like, you know, it's personal preference. But to me personally, I've heard me in the studio being sober and me in the studio scooped as fuck. And I think I do way cooler stuff when I'm really high. Because I think about things differently. So, yeah, I don't know. If I'll still track and play shows sober, don't get me wrong, but if I have a choice, I'm gonna
choose to be high. No, I completely understand. It's the same with editing. I can edit sober, but I'm probably going to be a lot angrier and a lot more negative, which
exactly.
which is also
Well, that's
bad.
the other thing that helps me so much is that's part of, actually, there's been a couple times where I tried to track sober, and I was just it's classic artist. You're your own worst enemy. You're way too hard on yourself. Very perfectionist. So I'll be in the studio and I'm not doing what I want to do, and I'll just get so upset with myself that that's the only time, honestly, some of the only time that I'll, like, show, like, anger or, like, real frustration is when I'm tracking drums in the studio, because I'll get so perfectionist about it, and I'm never good enough, you know. So I'll do something and then I'm like, God damn it, and I can't get it, and then I really need to go smoke. But if I do, it calms me down, it chills me out. I'm like, okay, let's try this again, let's reset, and then it's sick. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
fresh perspective.
At the same time, I don't want to be dependent on anything.
But
it definitely helps.
Exactly. And this is a conversation that I have so many times with, like, so many different people who are, like, trying to give up weed, or it's definitely a conversation that comes up a lot because people immediately go to the point of you being dependent on it. But I think the point that is worth noting and worth saying, like you did, is the fact that you're choosing to do it. Your life could be a certain way, but this is something that makes it better. I guess it's just an enhancer. Like if you have a cup of coffee or a cigarette, you know.
I drink so much fucking caffeine.
Pardon? You drink so much caffeine?
I drink so much caffeine.
Oh, on
like not like a deathly amount, just because I'm not gonna be stupid. Like if I ever have like heart palpitations or something, like trust me, I'll fucking chill out. I would like to be here for a while, but I like on the road. I definitely drink like 2 bangs a day, and each one is like 300 milligrams. So I probably drink a minimum of like 600 to 800 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Wow, that's not too bad though. I've heard of worse.
Well, the thing is the deathly dose is like a gram.
Oh.
Which is like a lot. That's like 10. If I drink 1,000 milligrams, it's like 10 times that.
Yes.
It's like insane.
Yeah.
So you should be.
How much?
You have to be drinking like 3 or 4 bangs a day and like shots of espresso and shit like every day.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like that. I don't think. Hopefully nobody would do that.
Hopefully.
But yeah, I mean, and it's to the point where I have to at least have like 300. Like if if there's some reason that I can't get one bang, or like something happens and like somebody throws my extra one away, which happens. Who cares? It's, some shit happens, and I only have one. That's fine, but I usually have like like at least one coffee in the day as well.
Yeah.
So it's like I've got to have at least like 300 or 400. Like, if not, then fuck it, I'll still do it, but might be a little slower.
Your speed is not the same as usual. Yeah.
Like, dude, why are you fucking like dragging on this 250 BPM song? I'm like, I can't hit it today, boys. I'm sorry.
Are there any things that you have on that you enjoy taking with you on tour that make things a little bit easier, a little bit more durable?
The only thing that I have like that at all is this thing. It's called a Theracane.
Okay.
It's like, it's made for getting knots out of your back.
Ah.
And it is like incredible. It's like $30 on Amazon. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, that's dangerous. I'm gonna put this down. But like, seriously, especially for drummers, because we have terrible backs. Every musician has a terrible back. What am I saying? That thing is a lifesaver after a night of like lots of headbanging or just like a lot of work. Like, you get, and especially if you're stressed about something, you'll get stress knots. Especially drummers, we get knots like underneath. The main place we get knots is like underneath our shoulder blades.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's impossible to like get it yourself. It's in the worst spot. That thing has like literally saved my ass. That thing has kept me from being in the hospital. Like, I've been in the hospital before multiple times because my back was so bad. Like, just I had stress. Actually, when I was like right before my marriage ended, I was so stressed out that I was in the hospital like multiple times, and they ran like every test. I was like, I'm actually still like probably $20,000 or $30,000 in debt with medical bills, because they ran like every test they could to see why I was throwing up, and they couldn't figure it out. And it turned out my back was just a minefield of stress knots. Like, because I was so stressed out that it was just, my whole back was knots, and like I just couldn't stop throwing up because I was just so stressed out. And even after that, even like after I was like, we were split and I was single and everything, and I was touring again, there was one more tour. There was a band called 2x4 that I played for like the last year that they were a band. And my first tour with them on Valentine's Day, like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I had to go to the fucking ER because my back got so bad that I couldn't stop throwing up, and they had to give me shots and stuff. And so now, if I get really stressed, or if I'm stressing about something, or I tweak something in my back, I just fucking whip that thing out, dude, and it's like, it takes care of it.
Yeah, straight
away.
away.
And you can do it yourself, and it's fucking awesome. It's so sick.
Shit, dude.
That is like my number one, like, for me, personally, that's like my number one. I don't tour without that thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
One of my friends told me about it like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've only had it for like 2 years, but ever since then, I'm like, every tour is with.
Your life has been saved. Have you tried yoga for your back?
I do, actually. I only know 3 poses, but I do them like, I can't say every day because I definitely forget sometimes, but I do them before at like every show for sure.
Yeah.
But when I'm home, I'll forget sometimes, but I try to do it pretty often. It's actually helped my back a lot.
Yeah. When they did those tests, did they do like an X-ray on your back as well?
Oh yeah, that was part of all the money.
Yeah.
They did like CAT scan, X-ray, every test like that you could pretty much possibly have to pay for.
So, yeah, to make you.
And they literally found They literally found nothing.
Nothing.
That's why it was so. And they were like, what the fuck? They were like, are you faking this? And I was like,
No.
you're kidding me. You see this now. You see me throwing up like nonstop
Yeah.
for like a full day. Like no one can fake this. Get out of here.
Yeah. Definitely.
But then once I got out of that relationship and changed some of the people in my life and started surrounding myself with more positive people and more like-minded people, and I started being kinder to people, and I stopped being a shithead, my back got better, and stress went away, and my life got better.
That's amazing.
Like,
yeah,
it's crazy how that works.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, this was Bryce Butler. Thank you guys so much for watching. Since all this coronavirus shit is going on right now, most of us are offering session work and stuff right now. So if anyone needs drum lessons or drums programmed or drums tracked, hit me up or any of our friends up on Facebook and Instagram. And subscribe to Gish Kush and keep watching these amazing videos. And thank you so much for your guys' time. I really appreciate you.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay.
Of course.
Sweet.
Thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, you are incredible. What do you think about my longer form interviews? I really enjoy getting to know people on this sort of level where, you just dig deeper. Do you like this sort of interview? I mean, like, if you've made it this far, maybe you do. So comment down below, let me know what you thought of it. And yeah, thank you so much again to Bryce for doing this. I appreciate you. And yeah, have a good day, a good night, and build your best life. Thank you so much for watching.